At any moment, life could be taken away from you. As Marcus Aurelius profoundly states, let that awareness shape your actions, words, and thoughts. Life is fleeting. Approach everything as if it were the last deed or thought of a dying person, Marcus urges. I believe Marcus Aurelius might be one of the most captivating figures in history. We often hear that absolute power leads to absolute corruption. Yet Marcus stands as an exception to that notion. He wasn't born into royalty, but was instead chosen at a young age, at the same age as Nero, and meticulously prepared for leadership. And what does he do with that power first? He shares it with his brother. Ever since I first read Meditations, I've been on a journey studying Marcus Aurelius. That book changed my life, just as it has transformed the lives of millions in the 2,000 years since his time. I'm Ryan Holiday. I've now authored 12 books and have spent more than a decade writing about Marcus Aurelius. I've been fortunate to discuss his wisdom with the NBA, NFL, Special Forces, U.S. senators, CEOs, and countless others. In today's episode, I want to share some of my favorite insights from the one and only philosopher king, Marcus Aurelius. If you're eager to understand the principles and ideas he lived by, then this video is for you. One of my favorite stories about Marcus Aurelius takes place during the height of the Antonine Plague, a devastating pandemic that claimed millions of lives. Rome's economy was in ruins, people were perishing in the streets, and despair was everywhere. So what does Marcus do? He walks through the imperial palace marking items for sale. For 2 months, he sells off treasures on the palace lawn, the emperor's robes, jewels, couches, and other luxuries. He was sending a clear message. He wouldn't prioritize himself when his people were suffering. He didn't need extravagance while others struggled. This reminds me of a CEO who takes a pay cut during an economic downturn, an athlete who restructures their contract so the team can sign new players, or a leader who sacrifices for the greater good. That's true greatness, and that's why I love this story about Marcus Aurelius. You're not as stuck as you think. I know it may feel that way, but the Stoics teach us that while one path may be blocked, another always remains open. The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius isn't suggesting that nothing can ever stop you. Of course, obstacles exist. But when one door closes, others still remain open. You always have the chance to practice virtue, pursue excellence, and adapt in response to what happens. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. That's the essence of Stoic philosophy. A door might close, but a window remains open. People may obstruct you, hinder you, or deny you something, but they can't take away your ability to be patient, to forgive, to pivot in a new direction, to change your perspective, or to grow from the experience. The Stoics remind us that nothing prevents us from adapting, evolving, and turning obstacles into opportunities. That's what "the obstacle is the way" truly means. You are never completely stuck because choice and change are always within your grasp. We already know what we should do. The challenge is actually doing it. Marcus Aurelius famously says, "You could be good today, but instead, you choose tomorrow." We delay. We tell ourselves we'll start that diet, begin that book, clean the house, but not today, tomorrow. If success were merely about knowledge, no one would be unhealthy, overweight, or unproductive. The issue isn't knowing, it's acting. That's why the Stoics emphasize the discipline of action. In the end, it's not about what you think or say, it's about what you do. What step will you take today? What action will you commit to? Marcus Aurelius teaches that progress happens one step at a time, and no one can stop you from taking that first step. Self-awareness is critical. Recognizing, I feel anxious because of X, or I feel uneasy because of Y, takes introspection. During the pandemic, I had fewer responsibilities. No travel, no traffic, no endless commitments. You'd think my anxiety would decrease, right? But it didn't. That's when I realized my anxiety wasn't caused by external events. Marcus Aurelius addresses this in Meditations. He writes, I escaped anxiety. Then he corrects himself, I discarded it. He penned this realization during a plague, no less. That was a breakthrough for me, understanding that my stress wasn't about work, family, or external pressures. It was me. Marcus Aurelius had a superior morning routine, better than yours or mine. He rose early, Not because he wanted to, not because he had to, but because he made himself do it. He asks, were you made to lie here under the covers and stay warm, or were you made to do the work of a human being? So he wakes up early and gets to work. The first thing he does, he writes in his journal. Meditations exists because it contains the private reflections of the most powerful man in the world. He wrote these thoughts down to improve himself. Then he tackled his most important task of the day. He urged, concentrate like a Roman. Do each task as if it were your last. Marcus Aurelius structured his mornings for success, knowing that how you begin sets the tone for the entire day. Self-discipline is personal. No one else signed up for it, you did. Your learning, growth, and improvement are for you. Marcus Aurelius teaches, be tolerant with others, strict with yourself. The goal of Stoicism isn't to control others, lecture them, or look down on them. It's about mastering yourself. That's why it's called self-discipline. Your focus should be on your own behavior, leaving others to theirs. Marcus Aurelius wasn't fond of people. If you read Meditations, this is clear. He starts by venting about how frustrating others are. Even his famous idea that the obstacle is the way is often about dealing with people, how they get in our way and create challenges. But he also recognizes that those very obstacles are opportunities to practice stoicism, to be just in the face of injustice, to remain temperate when excess is rewarded, to act courageously when cowardice is the norm. People may be obstacles, but obstacles are the way forward. Instead of resenting others, use them as chances to grow. We're all busy, but how much of what we do actually matters? Marcus Aurelius instructs, ask yourself with everything you do and say, is this essential? Because most of what we say and do is not essential. We act out of habit, obligation, or expectation. But if you knew you were dying tomorrow, would you still be doing it? When you eliminate the non-essential, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters, and you do those things better. 3 key Stoic principles. Amor fati. What happens to you happens for you. Accept it. Embrace it. Marcus Aurelius says, a fire turns everything into fuel and brightness. Second, life is about serving others. He teaches, the fruit of this life is good character and acts for the common good. Stoicism isn't about self-improvement for selfish gain. It's about contributing to something greater. And third, memento mori. Remember, you could leave life at any moment. Let that realization guide what you do, say, and think. Life is fragile. Seize the day.